Hi, if you're here, that means the title of this video drew you in, namely, Why Can't I Stream? A Feline's Guide. I'm KahMehKat, and I will be your felonic guide to some of the most common issues that end up occurring when trying to stream when you have no prior knowledge. Some people would like to stream, but they have no ability to do so, but they do not realize it yet, or their settings are bad. So here, in this video, this is going to cover the most common issues that end up occurring that either will prevent you from streaming at all or it will help you adjust so that you can stream. First of all, what we're going to first cover is first, do you have a laptop or a desktop? Now that you've thought about it, if you have a laptop, it's going to be based on the hardware that is inside of your laptop. We're talking not like adding on extra components from the outside. There's a whole bunch of other things you could do that end up costing money, blah, 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 blah. We're just going to go with the aspect you have a laptop. Now, then, if you have a laptop, then we have to go down the list here. What is the graphics card that is in your laptop? Namely, kind of like how old is your laptop? Is it old enough where it has only Intel integrated graphics, blah blah blah, and or does it have like a GTX processor for its graphics card? Or pretty much you have to find out what kind of graphics card you have. If you have an integrated graphics such as like Intel or AMD or anything that is not a gaming graphics card, you're going to have trouble. You're going to have trouble pretty much doing anything. If you can't play a game correctly or it maxes out your processor, which is also on the list right there, then that becomes another issue you have. If you max out your processor, you won't be able to stream or record, period. Because you need to have some processor left over for your OBS or for your other broadcasting software that you have. So looking back over here, your graphics card is... Oh, I'm out of order. Oh, doesn't matter. So let's go back up to the processor. Then, if you have a processor such as like a Celeron or a Pentium or anything that's not a part of the i series, I wish you luck, because most of the things that you will run will end up using all of your processor and you'll have nothing left to record or stream or otherwise. Um, boop, ba, boop, boop, ba. Brain fart. Yeah, I know. You could probably have left this video already, but if you're still curious on the rest of the stuff on this list, we're going to go down it still. So we've covered the processor. If you don't have an i-series processor, you're going to have a little bit of problem. The best way of finding out if you're going to have a processor issue is run your game at the settings you normally play at. That would be like in-game, not just in the menus. So like load up the game, go into the game itself, let it load up everything, and then open up your task manager. Find out if your task manager is using like 80 to 90% of your processor. If that's the case, you're going to have a bad time. But if you're using far less than that, then yeah, you have plenty of room in order to run multiple programs to record and so forth. But on that note, if you do not have the graphics card, as I mentioned earlier, such as like a GTX or otherwise, or something that can use a hardware encoder, then yeah, you won't be able to do much of anything. The problem for that is because if you do not have a hardware encoder, your computer tries to use its processor in order to encode your videos. But if you're using 80 to 90% of your videos and you have like a really bad processor, you will end up overloading your processor and you will get choppy, crappy video. That being said, you could end up like reducing your settings to the ridiculously low and so forth, and you could still end up overdoing your processor. If you ever see the error like in OBS that says encoder overloaded, it means your processor is overloaded. It can't have enough brain power to function. Then, moving on from that, back to the graphics card. So, by having a graphics card, when you're in your settings, it should give you an H.264 setting. If any of your settings have an H.264, use it. I don't care what I have said prior. The H.264 will actually take like almost all the stress off of your processor in order to make your videos, which increases your chance. I mean, I run an i7 processor and it uses 10% in order to run OBS. My games generally run 30 to 40% of my CPU, which leaves me plenty of room in order to be able to do everything else without any glitchiness. Now, here's one of the other things that people don't understand. If you want to stream, and this covers recording and streaming, by the way, if you haven't figured that out. If you want to stream, you have to check your internet speed. So just go to Google, type in speed test, You can pause the video here for a moment. Okay. Now, Google has its own speed test. It's pretty accurate, makes it pretty simple to do. You click it. Ignore the download. We don't care about the download. What we want is the upload. If you have like 2 megabits or less, you have pretty much, well, if you have 2 megabits, you have like the bare minimum to want to provide a decent stream of less than 720p. It will give you decent quality. I mean, you won't be too horribly bad, but you got to make sure it's stable. So do the test several more times. Make sure that you have the lowest speed that it pops up as, and then use 80% of the lowest speed. The reason why I say 80% is that way it gives you some buffer, so that way you can continue playing your online games if they're online, and it makes sure that there's a little bit of leeway if you end up losing some data or gaining some data, and so you have a constant quality stream. But recommendation is to have, if you want to stream on a regular basis, have at least like 5 or 6 megabits. That way you can set your quality to like 4 megabits, which would be great for even doing 720p at 60 frames per second. If you have super high fiber optic speed and so forth, it doesn't really freaking matter what you set it to. You just got to keep within the guidelines of the streaming service you're using. Okay. And then the next thing is stream settings. This goes into what I was mentioning about bitrate and so forth. A lot of people go, oh, bitrate, I want to make sure it has high quality video. So you set your bitrate to like 9,000. Amazing. You're like, this is going to be great. And find out that your internet speed only allows you to have like 2 megabits. What that does is that your computer starts buffering all of that data while trying to send it out as fast as it possibly can, continuously going wee, 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 wee. But it can't keep up ever because you're trying to record at 9,000 and it can only send out at 2,000 or whatever your internet speed is. So on that note, if you have like a DSL internet speed and you're at like 1 megabit or less, you won't be able to stream. You can record and upload videos, it just will take you a long time, but streaming is going to give you less than like 360p quality, which I don't think very many people will actually watch that. So hopefully this lovely little quick guide here covered it. If you made it this far into the video and I did not cover the issues that you're having, your technical support feline is ready to help. Please leave a comment below with the issue that you are having when it comes to streaming or recording, preferably using OBS because that's the program I use, but I can try and help you otherwise. And I will get back to you as soon as I can because I have no life, as I am a cat.